What is going on, guys? World of YouTube, people, faces, not faces, microphone. All right, let's talk about something. In this episode, we're doing the Eva-8. Okay, recoil control. This gun has no recoil. Surprise. Or very minimal recoil. Let's move on to tracking. Tracking with a shotgun is not super viable. As you can tell, the Eva-8's fire rate is very slow without a purple shotgun bolt. It's also not much faster with the purple shotgun bolt, unlike the Peacekeeper. The purple shotgun bolt affects the PK much more than it affects the Eva-8, and I actually go into time to kill difference between having the purple shotgun bolt, double tap, and just your standard Eva-8 a little later on. So here you'll see me doing what I'm referring to as strafe tracking, where I'm using my strafing to track the target versus using my look analog stick to track the target. Here I'm testing out the double tap just to see if, with the weird fire rate, if the tracking would still be viable to hit both shots or the majority of the shots. And as you can see, I'm hitting for about 112 per double tap. I also wanted to make sure I tried out every sight with the exception of the 1x HCOG, because that is my most comfortable sight with any weapon. So I feel very comfortable using that sight on any weapon. Here I'm forcing myself to use the 1x hollow, the sight that I feel probably the least comfortable with. Now this training is actually a little more viable. Snapping with a shotgun is a lot more important than tracking. One of the cool things that I actually did in this was with the double tap, I tried that. So using snapping to snap to two different targets in between the double tap. So the one shot and then hitting the second shot on another target. So if two people were pushing, you can technically use it. It's a little difficult to get used to at first, but I was able to hit about 63 with the first target, and then it would roughly be about 42 to 45 with the second target. Here I'm using the 1 to 2x hollow just to kind of mix it up a little bit, trying to get used to every sight. Again, as I said, I want to be comfortable with every single attachment that you could use on this gun, and just fire as many bullets as humanly possible within a short time span. I'm finding that these episodes are actually getting shorter and shorter as I get more into this, because it's a lot of kind of lather, rinse, repeat stuff, and you get a lot faster at doing the things. Like there, I hit a 63. So you can hit full spread on two separate targets as long as they're close enough together, obviously, because the double tap is very quick. Like the second shot comes very quickly after the first shot. But on average, I was hitting 63, and then 42, I think, was the second shot. Just because it's awkward. And then strafing to the right or sweeping to the right was harder for me. Now mouse and keyboard might be a lot easier than controller, but I am playing on controller. Okay, so here's where I'm kind of looking into time to kill. And I actually broke it down by seconds on time to kill between the double tap, the single shot, and then I actually pull the shotgun bolts off. The time to kill is literally probably fractions of seconds in between using double tap or single fire. You can tell right there I was going straight headshot, so like perfect scenario. The time to kill is literally, I want to say it was less than 2 seconds on either or. So whether you're using single fire or double tap, it's 4 shots no matter what with the double tap, because the perfect hits with it would not do enough, and then it was 99 per headshot with that. So it's 3 against purple armor, obviously. So that's gonna depend on the scenario that you're in. Here I've bowled off everything, shotgun bolt and all. just to see, and it was about the same, a little less than 2 seconds. So getting crazy with it's going to be a little bit harder now because Season 5 just released, and apart from being able to still use the zip line, they nerfed Pathfinder's movement basically into the ground. So until they do something where they update training to where your tactical can just be repeatedly used, there's not much I can do about that, because it's literally 35 seconds in between each grapple, and I've already grappled, slid, shot the person, maybe, you know, possibly killed them, and then I'm standing around waiting. So it just doesn't make it viable for repeat training or quick, not quick training, but like doing something repeatedly to make it muscle memory, because it would literally be 4 hours of me trying to just do grapple stuff. So what I did here, I started out with just kind of hopping off a zip line and recatching the zip line and trying to hit targets without like touching the ground. But I end up going and changing my strategy here to where I hit the target, jump, zip back the other way, hit the target, jump, zip back the other way until I've killed said target. And then we slide down to the next one, and just trying to do that until I either fall off and then reset, or, get feel comfortable enough that I'm hitting shots and what have you, because the whole point of this is getting crazy with it, feeling comfortable in the weird jumping or sliding or grappling or zipping or weird movements that you would never naturally have to account for in a game. So that way when you have the easier movement stuff to compensate for, you can do it like it's the back of your hand kind of stuff. Like it becomes second nature. It definitely makes getting into gunfights a lot more easy, because you can jump and still hit shots, and you can be sliding or grappling or zipping and you're still hitting shots, which a lot of gunfights with more skilled players, they'll kind of test the waters, I guess, or test your accuracy by getting in a small engagement before actually aping you. And if in that small engagement you are hitting shots and playing like you're a very accurate, very good player, the chances of them pushing you is very slim to none. So you might not even, get into a situation where they're pushing you. They may back off, wait for their team, or try to reposition, giving you more time to kind of think over your next steps. Almost like a game of chess, like you've blocked their knight and now they have to figure out a different way to get around with that knight, or use a different pawn. So it's all about a mind game, guys. It's all about, even if you aren't better than the other person, seeming like you're better, or getting inside their head and making them think about what they're doing. And that little time, that few seconds that they take to think about what they're doing, is enough time for you to make your move better than them or before them, and get the first shots, or knock one of their teammates and cause them to kind of panic and make mistakes. So this is definitely a fun little training exercise. You guys could try it if you want. You just set up a zip in front of these guys, and then it doesn't just have to be 3 red targets. It can be the black targets and the red targets, or just the black targets, or just the red targets, or pick specific targets, or have somebody. I wish I actually still had my cousin sitting with me, because what would be really cool is, as you're zipping, having somebody shout now, and you have to snap and hit the target that you're in front of. I think that would be kind of cool to get your reaction time and your thought process going. Get your old noodle working. As I said, this was probably, I think, my shortest or second shortest video next to the charge rifle, just because there's not a lot of ranged training that you do with the Eva-8. I noticed that at mid range, like I consider that second row of blue targets mid-range, you can't hit full spreads, so it's not even really worth practicing on hitting those, because you're not going to hit those shots full spread, or even enough to do anything useful. So it's all kind of close range stuff, working with these red dummy targets, the black targets, and then that first row of the blue targets, just to kind of get that little bit of distance that you actually can hit. And then here we're going to move into the gauntlet. So this was actually the toughest gauntlet I've done so far, even harder than the Mozambique or P2020, just because the Eva-8's very, very in-your-face gun, and the dummies, the training dummies, tend to not miss their shots. And when you get into fighting purple dummies and the blue dummies, they have a PK, which the PK just got a buff, so it's a lot stronger. It claps a heck of a lot harder. And then the purple dummies have the L-Star, which already claps really hard, and you kind of have to like be in their face and out in the open. With the Eva-8, it's a lot harder to use this gun from cover or from distance. The other problem being that the Pathfinder's grapple nerf, 35 seconds is a long time. I find myself, pushing into a fight or trying to get close to these dummies to try and keep things interesting like I've been doing in the past, but then getting into a situation where I can't do anything because I can't grapple out, so I just kind of have to sit in cover, and it really made for somewhat boring combat. So I was trying to peek a lot more than I normally would, or normally you should. And there's not a whole lot of in this area, at least where you fight the dummies, and there's not a whole lot of like climbing spots where you can reposition and practice different tactics against these dummies. There's just kind of the little headies here, and then off to the left, that little bit of rock pile. But the minute I found the minute that I climbed up there, they would climb up high. That was the first time I actually died there, and I peeked a PK shot right in the face, unfortunately. That's the other problem I have with this Pathfinder nerf, is I get that you're trying to keep, I get that Respawn is trying to keep the game fun and interesting for everybody. But unfortunately, if you're someone like me, I'm not a pro grappler. So there are times where I get into a situation where I'm fighting somebody and I panic and my grapple doesn't go the way that I wanted it to, or it detaches, and then I'm just stuck there for 35 whole seconds. You have to sit there for 35 seconds. So it kind of seems to me like that would be a big turnoff for some of the not as skilled players. And I mean, this is something that I think they're probably gonna tweak and try to find a sweet spot for. I just think they went from 15 seconds all the way up to 35 is kind of drastic. And then I can understand if you're trying to make, ranked play more competitive or whatever, then do a separate ranked tuning where ranked gameplay has different legend tuning than social lobbies. Because social lobbies, like, to me, I love this game because of how fast paced it is and how much it's oriented around movement. And now you're nerfing all of the movement characters to try to bring them down to non-movement character levels, where you have Gibraltar, who takes 15% less damage, has a 60 or 70 HP gun shield, and a bubble dome. I mean, how do you say that that's balanced? I mean, granted, if the Gibraltar is terrible, you can fry him, but if you go up against any Gibraltar that has half a brain for aiming, they're gonna fry you in a one-on-one. And I get what you're saying. Oh, reposition. Okay, so here's the scenario on that. You push path up to Gibraltar. Boom, you're frying him. Oh, you realize that you're losing because he has purples and a 60 damage gun shield, so essentially 260 health plus a 15% damage reduction. So you're talking much more than that, closer to 300 health, and you just used your one grap to get out of the fight to reposition and fight him again. You're now on a 35-second cooldown. You fry that Gibraltar, and he's the last member of their squad. You go to loot, you get third-partied and can't grapple away. You can't do anything. You're fried. You're done. That's the end. Because you can't do anything. You had to use that grapple because he's a better legend. If you're going to balance legends, balance them all. Make them all an even playing field. I mean, I don't know how exactly to do that. I can't tell you because it's not my game. But if you're going to nerf somebody into the ground, then you need to be nerfing everybody. Like, not just trying to make one legend or a couple of legends, top tier, high tier legends that everybody plays. And then legends like Octane, Pathfinder gets nerfed into the ground. Mirage got a buff, which is kind of cool, and I think he's going to be a player that you, or a character that you see a lot of people playing now because he actually seems like he's viable. But it's 5 seasons in, and he's now a viable legend, and he was there since the beginning. Like, it just, I don't know. That's my rant. I'm a little upset about the patch notes and them nerfing my little pathy into the ground. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I feel like 35 seconds is too long. I think 15 seconds is too short. Yes, I could see somewhere in the middle, 25 seconds maybe, but don't go one extreme to the next. You know, too short to too long, because even Loba, who just came out, has a 30-second cooldown on her bracelet, and that allows her to fly to, you know, probably the same type of distance or reposition in the same way that Pathfinder can. And that's a 5-second less cooldown. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, this was Getting Good with the Eva-8. Please, guys, do remember that if you like this content and you want to see more of it, to like the video, subscribe, help the channel grow. If you feel like I could do something better or something should change, or you want to ask me a question about something, feel free to post a comment below. Let me know what your question is, and I will try to answer them all as quickly as I can. Also, if you want to just chat about stuff in Apex, feel free to hit me up on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday on twitch.tv/real_Sero. That's SERO, like the title of the channel here. And I will be live there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. YouTube videos go up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm also thinking about adding a little variety to this channel. So right now I have vlogs, haven't been the greatest on them. I talk about it in my last vlog from Monday. You can check that out if you want. I think it's like 10 or 15 minutes long. I'm also thinking of adding a playlist, I guess is what they're called, a playlist to this channel called Storytime, and doing story games and just doing let's plays of that. If that's something you would want to see, we could do that. I'm also thinking that once Get Good is done, I'm going to try a ranked grind in Apex. Not sure how I feel about this season yet. We'll see. It may have to wait till next season, depending on how I feel about it. But for now, I'm still contemplating all the stuff that they've changed. I'm glad. I was wanting to do the Havoc as a Get Good episode, but I had a feeling that they were going to kind of balance it or nerf it in this update. So they have. So I'm glad I held off on that, because the weapons that I've already done, the balancing changes or the buffs / nerfs of those guns isn't drastic. So it's not something that would affect what I've already learned. Here's your statistics. Bullets fired 1,904, 1 hour and 15 minutes played, 78 bots killed, and I died 4 times.